What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend, and as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. First and foremost, apologies for not mentioning last week that today's episode was going to be a day late. After I finished recording, I was like, that was literally the first thing in my notes, and I somehow skipped over it completely. I guess I was just like really excited to hop into everything else we had to talk about, but nonetheless, my bad. We are a day late. Don't sue me, don't kill me. But this episode is very exciting because it is our 26th, which means we are 6 months into the podcast. Technically, we are 6 months on the 25th of April, but when you do 52 divided by 2, that's 26, right? Yes. So we're like halfway to 52 episodes, which is 52 weeks in a year. So we're like halfway to a year, which is crazy. Very, very nuts. I feel like I've been doing this. I teeter. Sometimes I feel like I've been doing this for my whole life. And then sometimes I feel like I've been doing this for 4 seconds. Like it's very weird and I don't know, just very weird. And it's been fun to kind of keep seeing new people listen and, get, everyone chatting on social with me and things like that. Just cool, very fun. And, onward and upward. Here's to another 6 more months and 6 more years, question mark, who knows, well, you never know where you're going to be. That being said, yes, I am a day late, sorry about it, but I have a good reason. I went to go see Jessica Kirson again last night at the New York Comedy Club, and it was, as expected, hilarious. It is so impressive the way that she does her crowd work. If you don't know who she is, you've probably seen her on TikTok. She blows up. She has gotten like so many millions of views and followers in the past year or so. She's really started to blow up and she deserves every ounce of it. She is the most rotted, evil, like bitchiest person, and I am obsessed with it in all the right ways. She is hilarious. If you haven't seen her stand up or her TikToks, go check her out. I promise you, you will literally piss yourself from laughing. She is so funny, but the show was so much fun. It was when we got there, we weren't sure if it was going to be the same set as last time when we saw her. I think we saw her back in like January. So yeah, been a few months, but it was the exact same comedians and all three of them were hilarious. Even having just seen them a few months ago, there were definitely some overlaps in the jokes, but the way that all three of them were able to take the jokes and kind of like weave them in a different way, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't just like they were reading a script going down the list and saying the same jokes. Like there were the same messages and things like that throughout the jokes, but they still were able to kind of apply them to the people in the crowd and like really make it like an individual show again, which was really cool and just like a nod to their talent. So much fun. She is hilarious. All three of them were so funny and it was just a fun little Tuesday outing, You get to get off work. We went and had dinner and we went down to the comedy show, had some giggles, had some laughs, and we were home by 9:30. I mean, what more could you really ask for, Like you have a fun night, a nice little dinner, and you're home and you're still in bed before 10 p.m. Like it was chef's kiss, so much fun. So highly recommend. I know her shows do sell out very fast when she's at the Comedy Cellar or Comedy Club. I always mix them up, but she does the Comedy Club. But keep an eye on their website. She's always adding shows. And she's also, if you're not in New York, she's on this tour. And it's literally called the Never Ending Tour because literally every other day she's announcing new dates. And I'm like, girl, do you sleep? Like, when are you going to see your kid? When are you going home? Like, what the hell? Because she calls it the Never Ending Tour. And she is living up to that standard because it is truly never ending. So I'm sure she's coming to a city near you. Check it out. Get your tickets if you can because I promise you, you will have a blast and a half. But that being said, we have a plethora, for lack of a better word, of things to talk about between Coachella, music releases, I mean, the Taylor Swift of it all, really, and just some other tidbits. So I think without further ado, I think we just kind of jump in, get our pop culture on, starting out the show, as we always do, with our Drew releases. So if you're new here, I start every episode with my first segment being my Drew releases segment, which is my take on new releases. So we talk about our new music from last week, and then we'll touch on what's coming up this week. And this last week was jam-packed with music. Jam-packed. I was like, my God, I literally had to like schedule time to listen to everything, I feel like. But they did not disappoint. Honestly, Yeah, every single release last week was a smash in my book, starting out with none other than Miss Sabrina Carpenter. So she dropped Espresso, and it was her kind of like lead into her Coachella set, kind of like something new to perform, which honestly, very smart because she has been performing. She did her tour, she's been on the Eras tour. Not that Emails I Can't Send and the music prior to that is like tired because it's so good, but it was smart to release something new to really gain that momentum. So kudos to Sabrina and her team, whoever thought of releasing that. You're smart. So she released Espresso. It's so much fun. Is it the best written, best song I've ever heard? No. Is it a smash pop song? Absolutely. She just releases perfect pop songs. It's fun. You can throw it on. You can dance. You can put it on in the back and just like bop your head. It's a hit. We love it. Sabrina, you will always be famous. And her Coachella set. We're gonna do a whole Coachella segment, but I just have to say, her Coachella set was so good, and I cannot wait to dive into it more in a little bit. Next up, another Coachella performer was Chloe Bailey. She released Boy Bye, and I am loving this sound. She was getting some flack on Twitter for saying, people were saying she needs to really dive back into her true R&B roots. And I just, I, I, I think the way people categorize artists to this day and are like, you need to stick to one genre and do, I mean, did you not learn anything from Beyonce? Like, you do not need to keep an artist in a box. So when I saw those tweets, she was responding. One thing about Chloe, she's going to respond to a hater, and I kind of love that for her. Like, sometimes I understand why you need to like log off and not do it, but when people are just talking mindless shit and saying things that like genuinely make no sense, run your mouth back, hit that quote tweet, send them a little hate, like you know what I'm saying? People like saying she needs to go back to her original genre, this and that. The song was so much fun. I loved it. I am very excited for apparently her and Hallie, excuse me, are releasing another album this year, but I'm loving these solo endeavors they've been doing. I've talked about their album Ungodly Hour an ungodly amount of times, for lack of a better word. I'm obsessed with it, loving everything they put out. So this release is no exception there. Next up was actually a release that I completely forgot to talk about last week because there was so much music coming out that I literally completely forgot everything about it. Perry Edwards from Little Mix, she released Forget About Us, and she's been teasing this for a few weeks, probably like 2 to 3 weeks, and I was very excited for this single, contrary to popular belief of me forgetting to mention it last week, but I was very excited for this single. I loved Little Mix when they were together. I thought they were so much fun. Saw them live a few times. I know they opened up for Ariana Grande. I went to a few of their solo shows. They just put out such good music, and I feel like they did not get the respect that they deserved. Like, Little Mix deserved to be huge. You know what I mean? Like, I am still here, like, full swing, like, hashtag justice for Little Mix. Except for Jessie, she's a little problematic. But that being said, I think Little Mix got such a shitty end of the stick. I mean, not that they weren't popular or big, but they should have, like, been all over the place. I loved them, and this song is so good. Just a fun summer pop song. This is her first like dive into solo music, and I'm very into it. If this is the sound that we're getting, sign me up. I am on board, ready for this. She released a music video for it. She looks gorgeous in it. She was my favorite in the group. I always loved her, and I'm very excited for whatever she has in store, whatever era is upon us. The next release we got, if you listen to any other episode, you know that I love this gal so much, Miss Dua Lipa. And I've said it before, I will say it again. Dua Lipa cannot release a bad song. She is incapable of releasing anything but a hit. Disregard numbers, disregard charts. I don't care about charts. I don't care about numbers. I care about the music. I care if it can make me dance. And Dua Lipa can get my ass out of a chair faster than anybody. I love this song. It's Illusion. Didn't even say the name. I'm loving the sound for this album. So much talk and chatter online about, oh, she's switching themes for the album. She's going from this to that. Who cares? Like, one thing about Dua Lipa is she's going to release a smash hit and she's going to be on vacation. Why do we care what else she does? Let her write her perfect pop music, hop on her private jet, fly to another country, release another perfect pop song, fly back, go do press, and then go back on vacation. Like, why are we so concerned about Dua Lipa sticking to a theme for an album? She has never released anything less than fantastic music, and you guys are gonna be like, oh, she's not sticking to the theme of the album. Sure, I love a concept album, do not get me wrong. But Dua Lipa has never released a bad song. So why are we all tripping up on it now? Why? I don't get it. Stan Twitter seriously needs to touch grass. But that being said, Dua Lipa Illusion did come out last week. Obsessed. The music video? Oh my god, I loved it. So fun, such a cool concept with like them just dancing in the water, the whole like the building thing, the was it a boat, a building? I don't remember. They were climbing up that thing, that object in the water. Her choreo was on point. She looked gorgeous. She is so stunning. And yeah, just loving these releases. This is our third single from the upcoming album. We're only a few weeks away. I want to say, what are we? This is the 19th, like 3 or 4 weeks away from Dua Lipa's new album. She is also doing double duty SNL May 4th, which is so exciting. She's hosting and going to be the musical guest, which I mean, like, what more could you ask for? I personally I would watch 4 hours of Dua Lipa on SNL. I cannot wait. I'm so excited for that and just so stoked for this album. I'm excited to see what other promo she has in store. She will be in New York, so Dua Lipa, Team Dua Lipa, if you're listening to this, hit me up for any events coming up. I will clear my calendar. I will clear it from day to night. Let me know. Hit me up. You know, I'm in New York. I can be wherever you need me to be. Let's chat. And those are our singles for the. Excuse me. I just glitched. Those are our singles for the week, but we are not done because we got two albums this week that I have been waiting for. If you've been listening to the last couple episodes, the last few months, you guys know Maggie Rogers and Girl in Red are two of my most anticipated albums of this year. And my God, did they deliver! Both of these albums are so fantastic. I am obsessed with them. Starting off with Maggie Rogers, her album Don't Forget Me came out, and this album is just she is so good. Her songwriting ability, something that I really appreciate about with Maggie is she will take very simple production, simple, like, I hate simple sounds negative, but I mean it in a way where it's not like crazy overproduced. She's not having these crazy pop beats, these crazy like instruments. Like she could be very like laid back and do her thing, but her voice and her lyrics and the way that she like complements her voice with her music ability, it is so impressive. And this album just like nods to that. It is so good. I am obsessed with it. My top three is The Kill. The Kill is a perfect song. I'm obsessed. They just like, I went the first time I listened to the album through, I was like, nope, I gotta run that one back because it is so good. But The Kill, Drunk, and It Was All Coming Along are definitely my top three at the moment. But the singles from this album as well were fantastic. The whole album, it's so good. If you haven't listened to it yet, go check it out. I promise you will not be disappointed. And speaking of not being disappointed, Girl in Red released I'm Doing It Again, Baby. And I have been loving. I've been eating up, literally, like, I've been eating out of the palm of her hand everything she's released from this, from the lead single, Too Much, to the title track, Doing It Again, Baby, to the Sabrina Carpenter collab. Everything she's released for this album, to me, has been so good, and this album has just completed the cycle perfectly for me. I'm loving this album. I think the way that she opened it with that really fun, like, whimsical track, just like saying, I'm back again, here's where I've been, here's what's been going on. So well done. Even the way she ended, she says something about starting a podcast, which I'm like, are we starting a podcast? Like, let me know. Maybe she can be a guest. It's like, maybe we can plant some seeds there. But I don't know. I just thought it was a really fun way to start and finish the album. My top three are Phantom Pain, Ugly Side, and as much as I didn't want to include a single, I have to include Too Much because it is seriously one of my favorite releases of the year. It is so good. If you have not listened to either of these albums, do yourself a favor, add them to your rotation. Honestly, listen to it front to back, the whole album. There is nothing on this album where I'd be like, you can skip this song for both of them. Maggie Rogers, Girl in Red, you nailed it. I'm just impressed with everything you guys have put out. We are so lucky to be alive at the same time as all of this fantastic music coming out. And we are nowhere near the end of this fantastic run of pop music, just music in general, releases that we are getting because you guys already know the upcoming release this week. And I say the upcoming release because realistically, what else is coming out? Taylor Swift, The Tortured Poets Department is dropping this Friday, April 19th. There is so much to dive into from this. So we have a whole segment just diving into the press that we've gotten this week, everything that's been going on. So though the album is coming out this week, we have a lot to talk about. So let's dive in. We're kind of transitioning from our releases into our pop culture topics, but we're making that bridge from Tortured Poets to more Tortured Poets. So starting off the week, I want to say like the weekend maybe, or like late last week. It's been a long time since this has all happened, but we got the track length, so we got to see how long the tracks are going to be. All of them were solid, pretty decently long songs. Like the longest one I think was like almost 6 minutes, and everything else ranged about 2 to 3, which is pretty typical. So content there. We got the writers, and it seems that Taylor has kept it in the family for this one. Jack Antonoff has co-written 8 of them. Aaron Dessner has co-written 5 of them, and then Post Malone and Florence Welch helped co-write the songs that they are on. Everything else, well, the other 2 tracks, Taylor wrote completely herself. So we're keeping it in the family, we're keeping it close, which makes sense because this album is definitely gonna be very personal. There's gonna be some I think having Jack on most of these songs makes sense because we know that he hated Joe Alwyn. He was the number one Joe hater. So he is, I think him being alongside Taylor in this writing process, he always is, but especially for this album, it just makes sense. So very excited for this writing, for the production of it, because just knowing that these 3 are working together again, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be good. So exciting there. But moving on to some promo for the album, there has been so much. And if you have not been keeping up, I don't blame you because there has been almost too much by Girl in Red. Almost too much to be keeping up with, but I've got you covered. I kind of went through, I did the Spark Notes, the TLDR, and TTPD. Like, I've got just what you need to know. And there's still things coming out. Like, right before I started recording, Taylor posted a cryptic tweet. Like, there's a lot going on. So if I forget anything, if I miss anything, I apologize. There is so much happening. So let's just kind of dive into the Tortured Poets department of what we know now and what's been happening. First and foremost, every single streaming platform is on board for the promotion, which you usually don't see big promos from every streaming service. Usually you partner with like one, like Ariana Grande usually always partners with Spotify. You don't see people doing like big installations or secret messages, but Taylor Swift is obviously a pillar of her own in the music industry. So she is doing things on every single streaming platform. Nobody is left out. There is no like Apple Music versus Spotify versus this versus that. Like everybody's getting a piece of this cake. Amazon is doing a whole Alexa thing. So if you ask Alexa when Taylor Swift's new album comes out, you get a special message from Taylor. Apple Music, every day this past week, she has been releasing a secret message in one of her old songs, which just is so reminiscent of like old school OG Taylor. If you've been a Taylor fan for a while or you know the lore, like when you would buy her CDs back in the day, there would always be capital letters within the lyric books, and she's doing the same thing on Apple Music, which is so cool. Just a fun nod back to how she started, which is really like part of the reason I feel like Taylor became so close with her fans. The way that she would hide people's names, hide people like messages in her songs really made people feel connected. And it was like a game. It was fun. I remember when 1989 came out, I stayed up until midnight and I decoded every single song and I sent them to my friend Delaney, who you guys know as like our official Taylor Swift correspondent on the podcast. And I remember like just always going through and breaking down all of the tracks and finding the secret messages. So every day this week, Apple Music and Taylor Nation rather has been tweeting a hint that ties to a song, and when you go to that song and read the lyrics, there's random capitalized letters in there. As of today, the message we have is we hereby conduct here die. Am I okay? We hereby conduct this post and then blank. So there's one more word coming out tomorrow. Not sure what it's gonna be, but it has been just a fun little game to play. It's been every morning at 11 a.m. I'm sure you've seen it. Yeah, it's kind of fun, a fun little callback to her roots. YouTube Shorts is in on it, so they are doing the other day a mural started getting painted in Chicago, and it was coming up with a 321 error when you scan the QR code, but it was on YouTube Shorts. And then today, a bunch of QR codes started going up around different cities, and they all link to YouTube Shorts. So we're getting new little lyric pieces from there, and then with those shorts, there are letters coming out. I think right now we're at like it's essentially spelling something Fortnite, like to a fortnight or in a fortnight, which is obviously the track with Post Malone. There's lots of nods to Fortnite in this promo and press, so I'm thinking that's going to be the single. So we'll dive into a little bit more of that in just a second. But she is, yeah, like I said, every platform is getting a piece of the Tortured Poets Apartment cake. Instagram, I have never seen them do this. If you go to Taylor's page and you scroll down, just like go to her profile and pull down on it, it says Tortured Poets Apartment and like these long letters that come down. And then when you pull down far enough, a countdown comes up. That's like not something Instagram does. So very cool. Uh, Twitter has blocked the word Taylor Swift leak. If you search Taylor Swift leak on Twitter since yesterday, it comes up something has gone wrong. Please try again. You can't search anything with the words Taylor Swift and leak in it. Target has gotten all the variants of the CDs. So all the limited edition covers and bonus tracks, whatever, are going to be completely rolled out at Target. I did hear that all of the bonus, like the different variants, are also going to be in record stores, but not, I don't know if that's confirmed. I just what I read on Twitter, but I know for a fact Target will be getting every single variant of the CDs. Not sure about the vinyls, but CDs for sure. So if you're a CD collector and you're looking for those, you can hit up Target for them. Also, on the topic of collecting in CDs, to our surprise, Taylor released signed vinyls and CDs the other day, which she did for a while. She started doing them with Lover. She did like the signed Me CDs and then the albums. She did them for Folklore, Evermore, Fearless Taylor's version, Red Taylor's version, Midnight, and of course she didn't do them for my two favorite album re-records, 1989 and Speak Now. She's fucking sick and twisted, but she did release them for Tortured Poets Department over the weekend. I did snag one or two, maybe, just keep an eye on my Instagram this week. That's all I'm gonna say. But I did get a signed one for my collection, and I'm excited. Yeah, I would actually was going to buy myself the vinyl Friday night. I was like, you know what? Let me just order it. Let me do it. I'm gonna buy it anyway. Let me just order it. And I was like, I'm just gonna wait because I did really like the Target pressing because I love a clear vinyl. And then I was driving to New Jersey. Oh my God, how I completely forgot to fill you guys in. Over the weekend, I went to New Jersey and I'm like completely stopping the show. I went to New Jersey with my friends Shauna and Brianna, and we surprised Ayler, who I talked about on the Beyonce episode. I've talked about them before. They're my girls from the Big Chill. We went and surprised her for her 30th. I feel like in my head last week, I was trying so hard not to mention the fact that I was going away to New Jersey because it was a surprise party for her 30th that I like completely didn't even include it in my thing because I was like, I can't tell Ayler about it. We've been keeping that secret literally for 4 months, and to finally have a surprise party and like surprise her and her know it, it felt so relieving because we literally, me, her husband, Shauna, Brianna, we've all been like talking about it, planning it for so long. So to finally be able to like have the party roll out and not have to hide it anymore felt like such a weight lifted off my shoulder. But we had such a fabulous time in New Jersey. Ayler, happy birthday. I know you're listening to this and I know you love when I give you little shout outs on the podcast, but that, had to just throw that in there. But we were driving to Ayler's surprise party and I ended up snagging the signed vinyl. So very exciting there. Yeah, Taylor is just full-fledged promo right now. She is like completely like pushing this album down our throats, which I'm not surprised. It makes sense. Like, duh, everyone's gonna eat everything you do up. You might as well capitalize on it. But the big one, like the real big, the big, I don't even know what to call it. The elephant in the room, I guess you can call it, is the Spotify library. So they announced over the weekend that Spotify would be launching a little Taylor Swift museum library exhibit at the Grove in LA, and it would have, little teasers from the album, some fun little Easter eggs, a photo op, things like that. They've done this for a few albums. They did it for, I think the first one they did like a full setup thing was, I guess technically 1989 because it was like the Grammy Museum, but it wasn't just dedicated to the album. So I think the first album pop up, and I could be wrong, but I'm like almost positive the first full rounded album pop up was Reputation, which I did go to, and that's how I met Taylor. The one and only time I met her, total surprise, had no idea she was going to be there. And I was like, I always said, I was like, I'm never going to meet Taylor Swift or Beyonce. So the fact that I was there at the right time, right place, and I met Taylor, it was meant to be. So she did Reputation, she did a Lover pop-up, obviously Folklore, Evermore, Midnights. Well, Midnights wasn't COVID, but Folklore, Evermore were during COVID. Midnight, she didn't do a pop-up, I don't think. No, definitely not, because I would have gone to that. But yeah, so now they are doing another pop-up, this time with Spotify. Reputation was with AT&T. I'm not sure who Lover was. I think Lover might have been AT&T, but it was also, she did a partnership with Stella McCartney. I don't remember. It's not important. They're doing a pop-up for the album in LA. I'm sure you've seen it. And there has been plentiful different little sprinkles of Easter eggs within. So let's just go through the list. First thing that really stuck out to me, there's a globe in the library and it has a nail in Florida on the globe, which obviously there's a song on the album called Florida, but Florida is also where it was the last time we saw her and Joe together was at the Florida Eras tour, which no one knows if they were together still at that point or not, but it was weird because he hadn't been to any shows yet and then he showed up in Florida. So I don't know, very odd. Someone did point out the fact that it's not a pin in the globe, it's a nail. And they were like, notice how it's a nail and not a pin because they are nailing this relationship. The relationship is done. They are ending it. It's not like a pin, like a point where they visited. No, it is where the relationship ended. So kind of, I don't know if it's true or not. Obviously, we haven't heard the song Florida yet, but I'm wondering if there's a tie in there talking about like the end of the relationship. Maybe I'll eat my words. I don't know, but it was just very interesting, the choice of a nail over a pin. And some people would be like, it's a pin, it's a nail, who cares? Taylor Swift is so intentional with everything she does. I'm sure she picked the exact paint color of the nail. She probably had it like down to the longitude and latitude of the stadium she performed at. Like, we know she is into detail, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was completely intentional. The next thing on the list was a cute little call out to a past album. It's actually, if you've listened for a while, you know that I teeter my two favorite Taylor albums between 1989 and Speak Now. So The Story of Us, there is a manila folder in one of the shelves with the books that just says Us on it, which obviously kind of leads back to The Story of Us. The music video is in a library. It kind of ties it all together. And somebody pointed out the fact that everything else on the shelves, all the other songs, are books. The Story of Us is literally just a manila folder. So to me, that means that yes, the story of us and that relationship she's singing about, it was huge in her life, but it seems like it's like, okay, this was like a drop in my bucket compared to the clusterfuck that was my relationship with Joe the last 6 years, and just like her relationships at all. Like, it almost is like me, to me, it is her being like, I was singing about these relationships back then as if it was like the end of my world, but I didn't know anything yet because that story was such a sliver of my life compared to what I had ahead of us. Again, I could be reading into it. Maybe I'm making things up, but that's just kind of how I took it, which, and again, I just love a Speak Now call out. The next thing, which I thought we could not move on to this episode without talking about, is the fact that on her desk, she has a little calendar that says Friday, December 13th. Now, yes, Taylor Swift was born December 13th, but she was not born on a Friday. It was a Wednesday the year she was born. This year, though, is a Friday on December 13th, which again, I am not jumping ahead. I am not saying like, oh my God, she's teasing the next Reputation Taylor's version or debut Taylor, whatever it is. But I think she's teasing the next Taylor's version is going to be released December 13th. And I honestly think it's going to be debut. I think she might release Reputation before that, maybe like similar to when Reputation was released. So it was at October, November. Yeah, it was November. So I'm thinking she might release it maybe like October, November, Reputation Taylor's version. And then December 13th, kind of like close this chapter, which also ties into the fact that we're in a library. She could close up the re-recording chapters and really just like move on with her life. You know what I mean? I feel like the re-recordings kind of hold something over her. Not that she has to release them at any point, but like fans continue to ask for them over and over, and almost a lot of fans don't appreciate the new projects that we've gotten. Like, they don't I mean, we appreciate it, but they're like, okay, great, new album, but when are we getting Reputation? Okay, great, but when are we getting debut? Like, everyone is just kind of like hung up on these re-recordings. So I'm thinking maybe I kind of just had that little epiphany live on camera. So I'm thinking we get Reputation in the fall and then finish it on her birthday this year. I don't know how old she's turning. What is it, 2024? 35? Is that the right math? Yeah, 35. I feel like that's like a significant age to like start a new chapter of your life. And obviously with the Travis of it all, and she'd really been more public with her relationship and just kind of like on top of the world, it feels like the right time to kind of close a chapter. So that's my prediction. Don't hold me to it. This is just what I'm thinking. There was a statue in the library, and it was Diana of, I'm gonna butcher this, but Ephesus, Dr. Seuss, who the fuck knows? Some bitch named Diana. And one of the lyrics that was revealed in one of the books was, even statues crumble if they're made to wait. And this statue specifically, so the original statue of Diana crumbled while waiting to be shipped to London in the 6th century due to years of neglect, succumbing to the passage of time and her elements. I mean, the fact that it was being shipped to London in the 6th century, six years, how long the relationship was, it fell apart from neglect. Like, she's clearly alluding to the fact that she was pretty much just like rotting away in her house for 6 years, and like she never got married. She never had a kid with Joe. Like, they were just dating, which is fine. There's this whole conversation of like, I can't believe they dated for 6 years and never got married. But to me, I'm like, I don't think you need to rush into a relationship. I have friends who were dating for 10 years and got married after 11 or 12. Like, there's no timeline to it. You know what I mean? Obviously, I can allude to the fact that Taylor wants to get married and like wanting to start that next chapter, and Joe is not on board with it. But I think like this is just kind of her being like, I spent those 6 years just in my house, quiet, like doing my own thing because that's what we wanted in the relationship. But it's not what she wanted. It's what Joe wanted. So I feel like that's kind of like her nod to that, which is sad, but it's also like it's very telling. There's no denying that she was kind of kept in like under wraps and kind of like secretive for a while because she just wanted her secret life and she didn't want to be too public, but also like clearly she's not against being in the public eye the way she is with Travis. So I don't know. It's just a little something to think about, and I'm very excited to see how scathing this album is going to be. The next thing, this has been going on since she announced the album, but number two, the peace sign. When she announced the album, she held up a peace sign. There's a peace sign statue in the library. Right before I started recording, she posted 2 days with a peace sign until the album. There's something going on with the number two. I am thinking that in 2 weeks from Friday, we're going to get something new. Whether that's another album, whether that is a poetry book, which is a theory. I think in a fortnight, the song with Post Malone, which means 2 weeks, we are going to get part two of this album or something related to it, because it's just a little weird, a little too convenient that like the opening track of the song is Fortnite. She keeps teasing the number two. I'm skipping ahead a bit, but there was a reel posted on her Instagram, and on Friday's date, there were 14 tick marks. 14 is 2 weeks. Fortnite. Something's weird with the number two, with Fortnite, 2 weeks. I don't know what it is, but something's going on. So the peace sign has been evident. If you remember back when she was doing Midnight promo, she was saying she wrote all of these songs with a glitter pen. The glitter pens are being left behind. She's writing all of these with a quill, and she had all of the quills at the library. And then in the video that she shared on Tuesday night? Yeah, last night, the glitter pens were like in the first room, and then they left the room and they went into the tortured poets department. Like, she is clearly saying like, Midnights, when I was writing that, there was ups and downs, there was happiness. She was able to write it with a glitter pen. Now these songs are all being written with her quill. Like, she is down to business. It's a quill, it's a typewriter. Mama is an English teacher through and through. So she, just a fun little nod there. The other, like the big thing that really stuck out to me is the fact that throughout this entire library, there is lace and dried flowers. Now, lace and flowers, I instantly think of a wedding. And we know that obviously her and Joe never got married, but there were always rumors that they were engaged. Maybe they eloped. I don't think that they eloped. I definitely think they might have been engaged. And my friend Delaney, who we all know and love, she did mention the fact that the lyric in Sweet Nothing, where she says, I spy a pebble. What is it? I don't know. We bought the pebble in your pocket that we bought last July, something along those lines. And she was like, wait, does that allude to a ring? And she now is, were they engaged? Did they go ring shopping? Were they supposed, whatever it may be? Just like very, very, there's a lot of like alluding to wanting to have a wedding or wanting to like be married and it not happening. There's also a bunch of mailboxes open at this library with flowers and the lace and everything coming out of it. So people are thinking that means that it was like wedding invites that were never sent. Maybe they were engaged, they had a wedding that they were planning and then it never happened. Like something, I think we're gonna learn a lot on this album, and I think we're gonna learn that like Taylor was like almost begging to be his wife and he wouldn't do it. Like he was like, nope, nope, nope. Which is again, at the end of the day, like that's fine. If he wasn't ready to get married, that's no fault to him. But clearly their relationship wasn't meant to last because she wanted something that he didn't in that moment. And like, not for nothing, she was 30, turning 30 in their relationship. Like she was ready for that chapter. You know what I mean? It's like me, someone who's going to turn 30 in the next year, like it is like a new mindset almost. And you're like, all right, I'm going into this next phase of my life. And maybe it's not for everybody, but it's just like the societal ideas, which I hate to even like, allude to or bring up. But there is like something about turning 30 where you're like, okay, like, well, how do I want to look at my life in the next 5 years? And her life now, 5 years after turning 30, and her life then are so completely different. So it is just something to think about. And, it really does it kind of gives us a bigger and deeper meaning into what this relationship really was all about. And it wasn't what we thought it was for so long. So I don't know. I'm very excited for this album. I'm just looking forward, honestly, more so to the lyrics. Like, obviously, I'm hoping the sound is fun and good and whatever there, but like, I just want to really like soak up these lyrics and like really digest them because I feel like we're gonna learn a lot, like a lot in this album. What is it, 17 tracks or 16 tracks, something like that? And then the three bonus tracks. There's gonna be a lot to digest, and that leads me into the final point about Tortured Poets Apartment that I will be recording my episode with Delaney this weekend. We're gonna dive in track by track, just like me and Gatti did for Cowboy Carter. So I'm aiming to have that up for you guys on Monday. So we're gonna go through each song, all the lyrics. It might be a long one. Me and Delaney have been talking. We're like, this is going to be a hefty album. We're going to try to keep it the same length as Cowboy Carter. Cowboy Carter was 27 tracks, and me and Gatti got through it in an hour and a half. I think Delaney and I can probably do an hour and a half as well. Like, I think we'll be able to do it in that time frame. If not, buckle up, grab a drink, grab a snack, sit down on your couch and enjoy. But that will be out for you guys before next week's episode as well. So to kind of give you what we're thinking about the album. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And then all I'm going to say from there, if I was Joe Alwyn, I would be terrified. I would be locked in my room, not going outside, not looking on the internet, nothing. I kind of fear for this man. I'm not going to lie. I think that he probably thought, like, oh, we dated for 6 years, and it was Taylor's most serious relationship. Like, I think he probably thought he was going to get by pretty, not unscathed, but like maybe two or three songs. Like, I don't think he thought there was going to be a full album. And now I'm like, oh, bitch, you're getting a full album. I hope John Mayer and Jake Gyllenhaal have a edible arrangement ready to send to him because they are no longer the most hated ex. Joe Alwyn is now. So we will see what happens. Again, we will break down the album this weekend and give you a full rundown of what we're thinking and how we can tie it back into old songs, things like that. Delaney's been doing it already with the lyrics that we've been teased with. So I'm like, kudos to you, girl. Like, she has been on it, and I'm so excited to break down this album with her this weekend. It's going to be so much fun, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But we are not done talking about Taylor just yet. We're going to put a pin in it, but we'll pick it back up in a bit, because now it's time to talk about Coachella. Oh my God. So I need to just retract my statement from last week because I said I feel like nobody's excited for Coachella this year. It's kind of not a big deal anymore. And I think this is the first year I've had true FOMO of the whole weekend. When Lorde did it, when Beyonce did it, when Ariana did it, of course I wished I was there. I was like, oh, that would have been incredible to witness live. But I've never had that yearning to be there the whole weekend and really take it all in. And now I'm like, okay, I think for my 30th birthday, I need to go to Coachella. I This year looked so much fun. And I think it's because it wasn't such a big to do. Like, it wasn't such a big, like, this influencer's doing this, da da da. Of course, there were influencers there. Of course, there were brand activations. Of course, people are going to talk their shit and be like, this person got paid this much, this person, da da da. But at the end of the day, I feel like it really was so much more about the performances and the music. Really, all of the headlines, beside Taylor and Travis being there, were about the performances, which is what it's supposed to be. So let's dive into it. Of course, we have weekend two coming up this weekend, but we're just going to dive into weekend one. If anything crazy happens weekend two, we'll chat about it next week. But otherwise, I feel like weekend one is really the one that has like the big bangs, you know what I mean? Starting off with no stranger to pop to handle, Chapel Roan. Can we just take a moment and appreciate the fact that we are living through such pop perfection watching Chapel Roan's career just take off? She is killing the game right now. She is going to be the next big thing in pop music. She's the most fun thing we've gotten in pop music in years, and I am obsessed. Everything she does, everything she wears, all of her performances, it is so incredible to see an artist with one album, on a debut album, having such a pull like this. Everybody at her stage was it singing every single word. Everybody was into it. It was so impressive, and it's what she deserved. Her music, out of control. If you've been listening for a while or you're one of my friends, I've been trying to tell everybody I know to listen to this album. If you listen to my 2023 year in review, it was in my top 5 albums of the year. Like I've been obsessed with this album since it came out, and she is finally getting these flowers, and just like I'm just so happy. Her performance was great. She killed it. Everybody was obsessed with it. She has gotten like so many thousands of streams. I think she's quadrupled almost in streams. Like it is nuts. I was texting my friend Delaney, who I can't stop talking about essentially, and she said that when she started listening to her a few months ago, she had 2 million Spotify listeners. After this weekend, she has 5 million. It's just insane in the short amount of time, the way that she is blowing up. So well deserved. I'm so excited to see her at Gov Ball. I love her. She killed her performance. It was so good. It's just incredible. And there's just something to note, like she is so inspired by drag, and when she goes on tour, she brings local drag queens with her to perform for the crowd. Like she has such a tie to the LGBTQIA plus community, and the way that it's getting such mainstream recognition and excitement is just it's a fun time to be gay. That's all I'm gonna say. It's always fun, but especially when there's a new pop girl who's really giving her all to the community, and I'm loving it. I'm obsessed. Chaperone, keep it up, never stop. Next up, another girl who does not miss, Sabrina Carpenter. We already talked about her a little bit earlier with Espresso, but this performance she put on this weekend. I mean, she is so everything to me. She's just it girl. Oh my god, I'm obsessed. Obsessed. So the whole set, everything was so fun. The little motel moment she did. The whole moment with the giant t-shirt that said Jesus with a carpenter. So good. She like if you didn't watch, she like walked off stage during I think it was Feather, it had to be. She walked off stage during her song and put this shirt. It was a giant oversized t-shirt, and all it said was Jesus was a carpenter in script on it. I'm like, okay, start selling that merch. I need it. But my favorite moment of the entire set, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen it because I posted about it. At one point at the end of her set, she points to her boo, Barry, in the crowd and like gives him this little wave. The way he lights up over the way she waved at him during this set, it is literally Barbie and Ken. Like, Barbie has a good day every day. Ken only has a good day when Barbie looks at him. That is exactly the energy he was emulating, and as he should. He is obsessed with that girl, and as he should be. I love them. I'm gonna put it on record. They are my favorite celebrity couple at the moment. I'm obsessed with them. I think they complement each other so well. They're both so silly and goofy and just like have this. I feel like they just want to have fun. They probably laugh so hard when they're together. I just love them. I think they are a perfect pair. Definitely not a pair that I expected to come about. Like, I didn't expect this to happen, but like from him wearing the Sabrina friendship bracelets to them at the Grammys party to this, like, I love them. I think they are doing the perfect amount of PDA. They're not all over each other all the time. They're not posting each other nonstop. They're not like, you know, crazy posting about each other. But the little tastes that we get from them, and they're not private by all means. Like, they're definitely out in public. Like, they're seen together. Like, it's not like they're hiding it, but just the little flavor tastes that we get from them. I'm obsessed. I love them. Such a moment. And I mean, Sabrina is such a performer. I'm obsessed. She's so good. And next up, Miss Lana Del Rey. Now, when I say this performance, when she rode in on those motorcycles, it looked like it was a biopic. It literally looked like they were opening a movie about a pop star who's performing. They had this giant performance, and I mean, it was. People have been waiting for Lana to headline Coachella for years. It just makes sense. Like, why hasn't she done it before? I know she's performed at Coachella, but never the headliner of the weekend, which is obviously the big spot. And I want to say it's been like 10 years since she's performed at Coachella. I want to say it was 2014. So it's been a while. And for having her back and like just she looked stunning. She literally looked like she was walking out of the Born to Die era, which is my personal favorite Lana era. That's when I found her. That's when I started to love her, and seeing her just she looked gorgeous the way she rode in. She is just effortlessly beautiful. Love her. I will say I used to love her down. I was obsessed. Like every album, everything. I've seen her in concert, whatever. Now I definitely don't listen as often. I will completely be honest and say I haven't listened to her last two or three albums, but this performance just gave me Born to Die energy, and I will take it. I will take every second of it. It was so good. Not to mention she brought out Billie Eilish for a performance, which just like incredible. When Billie, I remember when she first started coming around, a lot of people compared her to Lana because it was very like that Tumblr kind of grungy-ish vibe. Like I feel like there was that comparison there. Same with like I feel like Lorde got compared a lot. Like there's that group of girls, those group of artists who are kind of like they're not mainstream pop. They're not doing what Ariana Grande's doing, you know what I mean? They're not dancing, they're not doing anything like that, but they were just like, they had that cult following, kind of like Marina and the Diamonds, like that vibe. And so for Lana to bring Billie out, it was just such a fun moment. They covered video games, it was so good. Just a 10 out of 10 performance. Absolutely loved it. And then when I was writing this outline, I realized it's been a few weeks since I've talked about this next performer, which is not like me. And one of my friends is going to be like, Andrew, you talked about her last week. Like, I'm sure I have mentioned her, but there was a period where I was talking about this girl every single week, rightfully so, because I'm obsessed with her. Renee Rapp. Renee motherfucking Rapp. Oh my God. I cannot get enough of this bitch. I love everything she does. She is incredible. First and foremost, the scissors on stage. The scissors on stage. Hilarious. Then to have the L Word cast announce you. Then to have Kesha come out and change her lyrics to TikTok to say, wake up in the morning like fuck P. Diddy, to then go on, you kiss your girlfriend on stage. Like, she was giving the girls, the gays, every single thing that they wanted. She knocked it out of the park. You guys know, I love her so much. She is one of my absolute favorite artists. Her album last year was one of my favorites of the year. I'm obsessed with it still. I listen to it nonstop. I love her. I am so proud of all of the things that she is like doing. She's literally conquering the world. She is on top of her game, and it's so cool to be seeing her career launch like this. I wasn't a fan before Sex Life of College Girls. Like a lot of people have been following her since Broadway. I haven't been. I did know of her because again, I was a theater kid, but wasn't like a huge fan, didn't know, couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I knew her name, that was really it. And then Sex Life of College Girls, that's kind of where I jumped on the train. And then when her music came out, I was like, oh fuck, this bitch is here to stay. And she is just continuing to just climb the ladder, and I'm obsessed. I love her. She knocked her performance out of the park. Who's surprised? Not me. An artist that I don't really listen to that much, but I needed to give him some flowers because he really did do a knockout job. Tyler, the Creator, his performing skills and his theatrics are so impressive. The way he jumped out of the trailer at the beginning, he had so many guest appearances. Like, he just knows how to perform, and you got to give him credit where credit's due. I don't listen to his music much. It's just not, I don't, maybe it is my style. I've honestly just never put it on. It's just, you guys know, I tend to lean towards the girl artists, but he just kills every performance. It is so impressive. Another person who knows how to perform the house fucking down, Doja Cat. We talked about her last week. I probably won't be listening to her new album. Just kind of not on that Doja train anymore. But one thing about that bitch is she can perform. She headlined Sunday night. She knocked it out of the park. I was so impressed. I mean, I knew she could perform, but she really went all out for this performance, from the choreo to the look to the theatrics. 10 out of 10. She killed it. Kudos to you, Doja. Another big moment from the weekend was No Doubt performing. Not only did they reunite for the first time performing live in like 9 years, the last time they performed together was 2015. They brought out Olivia Rodrigo to sing Bathwater with her, which is just like if you know Olivia, she loves No Doubt. She always says that that's her favorite No Doubt song. And it's so, I love that when older artists give new artists their flowers and it's like, you're killing it. You were on top of your game. Get on stage with me and let's fucking rock this song. So she brought it Olivia. Gwen Stefani being 54 years old or 55, however old she is, and performing like that, out of control. I hope we get a No Doubt tour. I would die. I would be so excited. I grew up listening to No Doubt and Gwen Stefani. My mom was obsessed with them. Like Gwen was one of her favorite singers of all time. So I always like whenever I listen to No Doubt, I get very nostalgic. So seeing them, reunite and whatever was very exciting and just like a killer performance. They knocked it out of the park. So much fun. Ice Spice, of course, she killed it. But I mean, unfortunately, the big thing coming out from Ice Spice's set is that Taylor and Travis were in the crowd. There's that audio going around of her shouting at Taylor Swift. And don't get me wrong, Ice Spice absolutely carried her performance. Her stage presence has gotten so impressive from when she first started. She used to kind of just like bop around on stage and do her thing. Now she's like talking to the crowd. She's got her little dance moves, doing her thing. She killed it. The fact that she is performing at Coachella already in her career is out of control. I love her. I think she's so much fun. Just she knows what she's doing. She's so smart. And that being said, of course, the elephant again in the room. The elephant in the tortured poets department is Taylor and Travis at Coachella. The fact that they were there, it made sense. I mean, Taylor is good friends with Lana, but I don't think she was there day one. But that being said, she was there for day two for Bleachers and for Ice Spice. So a little weird that she wasn't there for Lana said, but she was probably out doing, I don't know, who the fuck knows. But she was there for Bleachers and Ice Spice. So for Bleachers, she was side stage. She was kind of just like minding her business. But then she was fully in the crowd for Ice Spice, which is so, I guess, not crazy because like there's a whole artist section. She can kind of do her own thing, but like just like I was very surprised to see her in the crowd. Very, very surprised. But the thing that really gagged me was the New Heights hat. The fact that she was wearing Travis's podcast hat. I was like, A win for podcasters everywhere. And B, like she is down bad for this man. I'm obsessed. It was so cute. They were having the time of their life. They looked like they were having so much fun. I've been saying how much I love the fact that they were just being like a normal couple when they can be. Like they are going out to dinner, they're going on vacation. Of course, they're still Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Nothing's gonna be normal completely, but they are just like soaking up this time off together, doing couple things, and I love it. There's the video of him lifting her up in the crowd. There's a video of them kissing in the crowd, them dancing. They went to Neon Carnival. Taylor was high out of her mind. Like it's just, I love these little tidbits we're getting of them. And the big takeaway from the weekend, there's two actually. The picture of Taylor Swift and Teresa Giudice. I I think we need to hang it in the Met. I think it needs to be hung in a museum because it is just so. If she's gonna take a picture with any housewife, it had to be Teresa. And I need to know the conversation that they had when they were talking to get that photo. Like, A, it was during a set, so you know it was loud. They could not hear each other. Obviously, Teresa approached Taylor, I'm sure. But like, what did Teresa say? Like, how did it come about? Did they talk? Did they just take a photo? Like, do you think Teresa was like, oh my God, I loved your performance of the Eras Tour at the table? She has a history of flipping tables. Taylor was performing on the table. Like, I need to know what they talked about because I'm obsessed. Now, I don't keep up with all of the housewives anymore. I used to be big into New York, New Jersey, and Atlanta, though. Obviously, Teresa being New Jersey, and me, my aunt, my mom loved Teresa. So seeing Teresa and Taylor together, I was like, this is everything to me. I was fucking obsessed. So fun, so good. And then she's at Neon Carnival where James Kennedy, another Bravo celebrity, is performing and he's playing Cruel Summer. He does this fucking crazy little remix thing. Her face when he remixed the song was priceless. It was so funny. And I just love seeing her out and about doing her own thing, like having fun. It reminds me of the Super Bowl night when she was out partying with Travis at the club and they were like plastered off their mind, singing to each other. I love that she is like spreading these wings and like having fun, doing her thing out and about, exactly what she wasn't doing for the last 6 years. So Coachella weekend one was a hit a smash. Honestly, it looked like so much fun. I think next year's the year. I think I have to do it. I'll be turning 30. It's always around my birthday, so I always think about doing it for my birthday, but next year turning 30, I think it's going to be the year, and I am putting it into the universe, and I'm predicting that Olivia Rodrigo is going to headline. Now, I don't have any inkling as to why. I just have a feeling, and it would be the best way to celebrate my 30th birthday if she headlined. So Coachella, if you're listening to this, make it happen for me. I couldn't go to the Guts tour. You robbed me of that. So at least give me Olivia Rodrigo headlining Coachella for my 30th birthday. And with that, we'll leave Coachella in the past. If anything major happens this weekend, which it might because of this next story, actually, we'll talk about it, but there won't be a full recap because usually it's the same sets. But that being said, Charli XCX and Troye Sivan are going on tour together. I've known about it for a few months because it was rumored, and like I have friends who work in the industry, and they told me, blah, 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 whatever. But now it's announced, and we can talk about it. It is going to be the gayest night of my life. I cannot wait. I love Charli. I've been loving Charli for years, literally like 10 years. I want to say 2013, 2014. I started to get into her. Troye Sivan, though, if you know me, you know Troye Sivan and I go way back. That is my guy. I love him. I've been a fan of him since before he had music out. He had that Fault in the Stars song out on YouTube, but he was just a YouTuber. I loved him. I went to go meet him before he was doing music. I've followed his whole career. So to see Troye Sivan performing at Madison Square Garden, when the first time I saw him was at like a 300 cap venue, is going to be insane. And I'm so excited for this tour. It's called the Sweat Tour. Shy Girl is opening, which is another like fun artist. It's going to be so much fun. I don't know if there's music coming with it. I don't know what's going to happen. It might just be a co-headlining tour. They both had albums come out or had an album come out, has an album coming out this year. Like I don't know what's going to come, but I just know it is going to be the best night of my life. And I cannot wait. I don't have obviously tickets aren't on sale. I will be there. I will I would I there's no way I'm missing this. There's no way I'm missing this. I'm so excited. It's going to be fucking insane. I can't wait. Oh, I cannot wait. Next up, there's really no way to the only way to link these two stories is the gayness of them all. But Cinemacon happened last week. I honestly, it wasn't on my radar. I didn't even know Cinemacon was a thing. It just never comes across my desk. But Ariana Grande was there, so of course it came across my desk. She made a special appearance with the rest of the cast of Wicked. She was there, Cynthia was there, the whole cast, and we got a little more inklings about the movie. There was a trailer shown that hasn't been leaked yet or released, which I think we're getting a new trailer next month from what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm assuming they just got the trailer that's coming out next month. We get to hear Ariana sing For Good in it, which I'm so excited for. Just any inkling of getting her singing in this movie, her and Cynthia together, I cannot wait. But the big takeaway for me is the fact that we found out that Dr. Dillamond is going to be played by Peter Dinklage, not by James Corden. Thank fucking God. We are safe. We are marked safe from James Corden being in the Wicked movie. It was rumored for a while, and I don't know where the rumor came from. I don't know if it was like actually a thing, what was going to happen, but it has been confirmed. This is the last cast member, I believe, that we didn't know who it was going to be, so they were clearly saving it for CinemaCon. It will be Peter Dinklage. He was in Game of Thrones. He's been in so many different things. So I'm just so relieved that it's not James Corden. And like I was like, if I have to sit in this movie theater and watch James Corden on that screen, it was gonna ruin the whole thing. It wasn't gonna ruin the whole thing, but it was gonna ruin the whole thing. You know what I mean? So thank God we are marked safe from James Corden once again. And Wicked, I just can't wait. We are getting closer and closer. We are what? It's April. We're like 7 months. No, again, I'm not good at math. 5 months away, something like that. I don't know. It comes out in November, Thanksgiving. I can't wait. I can't wait. I cannot fucking wait for this movie. Moving on to some TV news, Jersey Shore. Now, I did say a few episodes ago I wasn't going to recap Jersey Shore in this show, and I'm not. I am not recapping it, but all I need to say, the fact that Ron and Sam are finally in the same room together after 10 years, and all he does is look at her and say, "Hey, how are you?" I, uh, I feel like I've waited my entire life to see Ron and Sam interact again. I was a Jersey Shore fan back in the day. I loved it, and I was always like, what the fuck is the deal with Ron and Sam? Like, obviously, it was always a mess, always. a whole thing. He walks into this house after being teased for like 4 episodes of him coming back. He walks into the house, gives everybody a hug, looks at Sam and says, "Hey, how are you?" Which, I mean, I guess, like, what do you say? Like, obviously, they weren't gonna hug and embrace and be like, "It's so good to see you." But it was so uncomfortable and anticlimactic. But I will say this week's episode, which actually comes out, if you're listening to this today that I post this, it comes out tonight. They're Thursdays. It's still Thursday. Sam is getting very heated at the dinner table with Vinny. So I'm curious if she's gonna like blow up on him or like what's gonna happen. But Sam and Ron have seen each other again for the first time in years, and it just felt like if I didn't talk about it on the podcast, what was I doing? I wasn't doing my job right. In other TV news, Drag Race this week. So I'm not going to recap the whole episode because it was just the lip sync Lalaparuza. All I'm going to say is Megami ate fucking down. I did not know she had that in her. She was so good. She did such a good job at making these lip syncs funny and campy. And she knows she's like, I'm not a choreo queen. I'm not going to be doing all this stuff. But the way that she acted these songs out and just like made it her own, genius, genius, genius. She made it to the end. Spoiler alert, my girl Morphine did win. So well deserved. Every single lip sync she did was better than the next. She killed it. Absolutely killed it. She got the crown if she didn't already done had hers is. So well deserved. And now we are moving on to the finale. So this Friday night, we find out who is the next drag superstar. And I will be going to a viewing party. I'm very excited. Obviously, you guys know I am Team Nymphia. That is my girl since episode 1. Literally, if she wins, I'm saying like I predicted it. Also, I'm gonna say. But I do think Saphira is gonna win, and I am so okay with that. I'm more than okay with it. She is so deserving. She has had one of the best track records in Drag Race history, and if and when Saphira wins, it is so well deserved. I love Nymphia so much, and if she wins, I will scream. But I'm very excited for the finale this week. We will recap it next week. Apparently, we're getting the reunion as the finale, and then we find out who wins at the end. So TBD on how that goes. I'm curious. I'm sure there's going to be some drama between Plain Jane and the mandatory meeting. So we'll recap that next week. I will do a full episode breakdown. But this one, I was like, I'm not going to just go through every single lip sync and say what I thought because it just didn't seem necessary. And with that, we've made it to the final segment of the show. So if you've made it this far, the last segment of each show I do is my yes and my mess of the week. My yes being something I'm loving, and my mess being something I'm not loving. Starting off with my yes, Miss Kelly Clarkson, the American Idol. If you didn't see, there's a clip of her going around. It's not going viral, but it's a big clip. She had Hillary Clinton on her show this week, and they were just talking so openly about like women's rights, abortion, and like the way that we're going so backwards in the country. And I mean, of course, if you're listening to this, I'm assuming you have the same views as me. Women should have control over their own bodies. Like it's a no-brainer to me, but of course we live in a very fucked up, vercocked world, and that's unfortunately not the case. And the fact that Kelly had, not only the fact that she had Hillary Clinton on to talk about it, like that's besides the point, Kelly using her platform on the biggest daytime talk show right now to just talk about this and like not be afraid to like bring awareness to something that is so scary and so I don't even know like just so fucked up. Like she really is the American Idol. I'm obsessed with her. I love that she did this. I love that she took a whole segment to talk about this and really just like use her voice to amplify the fact that like everyone needs to use their voice. Whether you are Kelly Clarkson, whether you are some Joe Schmo in the street, it's an election year. We have to vote. We have to vote. We need to make a change. There is so much at stake this election year. And just in the last few years, obviously there's been so much going on. And the fact that she used her TV show and like a segment on her show to talk about something so important and so serious. Again, we shouldn't be praising celebrities we shouldn't be praising celebrities for like using their voice and talking up, but the fact that so many celebrities don't, and then Kelly Clarkson goes on her show and does, and is so strong behind this message and just like continues to be a badass TV host, I just had to give my yes of the week to Miss Kelly Clarkson. You guys know I love her. She's the queen, the American Idol. I'm obsessed. And now on the other hand, my mess for the week. I really didn't want to talk about this bitch on my podcast because I am so tired of her, but it has just become so impossible to avoid JoJo Siwa the last few weeks. I don't want to go too far into this. I don't want to get too wrapped up in it. But what is she doing? I was all for the rebrand. I was all when she came out, I was like, yes, like this is incredible. We have a gay star for children. This is amazing. And she just quickly like took this left turn and went so down with it. Like she just kind of like was like, oh my God, people like this rebrand. People like what I'm doing. And just took a complete U-turn with it. And now she is driving herself into the ground. This new song is terrible. It is her attempt at like trying to rebrand herself with a song that isn't even written by her. Stupid. Did you not think the internet was going to figure that out? And not saying she stole the song. I'm sure she bought it. There's so many legal fees behind it. Like, I'm not saying she like took somebody else's song and recorded it. There was clearly a compensation deal made for it. She definitely bought the rights. Like, I'm not negating that, but the fact that you're like, I'm gonna make this big comeback and or rebrand rather, Miley Cyrus style, like banger, da da da, and it's not even a song that you wrote or had any creative control over. And then all these interviews she's doing saying she's like creating a new genre of gay pop. Like, I don't need to go further than that, right? Like, you guys, you get it. The dance is cringy. She's on stage like humping her backup dancers now. I'm just she's literally dressed as a cartoon character, dry humping her backup dancers. I'm like, you've got to pick one or the other. You either have to stop dressing like Willy Wonka's fucking chocolate factory and commit to the bit, or just go back to Nickelodeon. Like, pick one or the other because, like, I don't know. I don't know. Something is just so odd. And then her call her daddy interview with that weird hat. Like, what? They're just there. I think my problem with it is there's no direct image. And I'm not hating on her. Like, do your thing. Maybe I am kind of hating on her, but like I'm not doing it in a way where I'm like, I hate JoJo Siwa because I don't. I don't think she's a bad person. I don't think like she has ill intent. I just think she needs to really like hone in on herself and like figure out exactly who she wants to be because right now she is all over the place. She is literally like a ping pong ball. Like can't figure out who she is. And I know I get it. It is hard to find yourself, especially I can't imagine she's been in the spotlight literally since she was like 5 on Dance Moms. She has never not been in some type of entertainment industry. So I'm not discrediting the fact that like she has not had a normal childhood and she probably doesn't know how to be normal in any sense. But somebody's got to fucking take that bow out of her hair because it is cutting the blood circulation off to her brain, and she does not know how to act. Girl, get it together. Like, karma might be a bitch, but I'll be a bigger bitch. Figure your fucking self out and then come out with a rebrand. I can't. And I can't even, like, laugh and, like, be ironic about the song and be like, it's so stupid. I love it. It's not even, like, to that extent. You know what I mean? Sometimes when there's a really bad song, I will eat it up. I love a bad song. This isn't even bad in that way. It's just like I I don't even know. I don't even have this is why I don't want to talk about her because I don't even have the thought to compute what I'm thinking about JoJo Siwa. I don't know. I just hope she figures it out and like there was one teaser of a song she released that did sound kind of decent. So I'm like, all right, maybe they're just like for the shock factor for people to talk about on a podcast like me. And I don't know. But to me, I'm just like, figure it out, get your shit together, and then do your rebrand because it's just not giving what I think it's not giving what I think she thinks she is. Does that make sense? She's not giving what she thinks she's giving. There we go. And with that, as I'm getting tongue tied, I think that is a perfect way to end the show. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating, give us a review. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment. And like I say every single week, if everybody sends this to one friend, I will double in listeners. It is simple math. It is easy. You know the drill by now. If you're not following me on social media, what are you doing? I have been making TikToks left and right, trying to, do my thing, kind of broaden my horizon. So make sure you're following the podcast at 2pop2handle. Make sure you're following me at Andrew Nucatola. And until then, I'll catch you guys on Monday because I'll have a bonus episode coming out on Monday. And then our regular scheduled episode will be out on Wednesday. So Taylor Swift Tortured Poets Department featuring our head Taylor Swift master in charge, Delaney, coming out this Monday. And then our regular scheduled episode will be out Wednesday. I have no comedy show tickets on Tuesday. I have nothing going on, so I will be back on schedule. And until then, I'll catch you guys next week. Bye!